Over the last 5 years, I've spent over $9 million for kitchen and bathroom remodeling companies. And in this video, I'm going to break down the 3 biggest learnings that I've had using that amount of money within the industry. For context, I run a marketing company, or we work as like a growth partner within the remodeling industry. And we help clients across the United States with getting more qualified appointments on your sales team's calendar. So let's just dive right in. So the first thing is like figuring out how you can create the most leverage in your business. So what I mean by that is you need to have an acquisition system that can run without you. You need to, while you sleep, be able to create appointments that can essentially feed up your sales reps' calendars while you sleep. Because the thing is, like, if you want to go to from like $1, $2, $3 million a year all the way up to 5, 10, 15, you need to remove yourself from the equation. You can't be chasing down leads at that stage of the business. And that's why you need a consistent but also predictable acquisition system. And what I'm seeing with a lot of remodeling businesses out there is they are using like Angie's, Thumbtack, Home Advisor to send them leads. And if this is working for you, great, keep it running. But the problem in the majority of the times from me having a lot of like conversations with remodelers every single day is that it's just not scalable. Because first thing is you pay per lead, which means your incentives aren't really aligned with theirs. They just want to send you as many leads as possible, and therefore, you don't get the quality you want. That also leads to the actual like leads itself. If you want like a full bathroom lead, sometimes you just get like a vanity replacement, which it just doesn't make sense revenue wise. So when you actually like take the numbers together, you're ending up with a cost per qualified demo, which is a lot higher than you would ideally want it to be. So that is the first principle that is just extremely like important to understand, that you need to actually have something that is both scalable and also consistent. So that's the first principle. You need to figure out how you can build out an acquisition system that can generate you appointments on demand. Because when you're hiring like new project managers, new sales reps, getting on new crews, you need to make sure you can keep that consistency in when you put them on. Because, if you have one bad month, they churn out and you go back to the point where you were before. So that's the first principle. The second thing is basically then building that machine. And one thing here that is super important is your offer. So a lot of companies are super proud of, what they're doing, their history, all of that. And I understand that. But from the homeowner's, point of view, they don't really care when they see an ad. Like, that's not the thing. They back it up with the logical stuff, but they buy with emotions. And that means you need to trigger these emotions to attract the ideal client. So there are basically 2 ways you can go with the advertising. Either you play a volume game, you just push for getting as many jobs as possible, and that's fine. That's the game you're playing. But if you're more like you want higher quality jobs that you can charge a bit more for, you need to change the way you advertise. So first thing is like picking the right vehicle. So what we have found to work the best is Facebook and Instagram, and that's why we have chosen to spend $9 million on that platform throughout the last 5 years. The reason why we see that as the best platform is because it's consistent, it's scalable. If we know every time we get in front of 1,000 people that, let's say 5 people are booking an appointment and 2 are closing into a job, we have that consistency. If you spend that certain amount, you'll get that certain amount out in output every month. And that way you basically know every time you spend X amount, you can get a new job. And that means you can scale the machine. So a lot of companies out there are running like these crazy discount offers. And the reason why I don't believe that is working that well, and the data speaks for itself, is because like a kitchen or bathroom, it's not really like a need. And that means if you put like these ridiculous offers out there, you are attracting top of funnel people, people that are just scrolling on their phone or their iPad, whatever, and now they saw this incredible offer, and out of a sudden, they're now interested in getting a new kitchen or bathroom remodeled, for instance. And that's not the type of people that you want. You want the type of people that are already in the market. So that's why we are basically running ads with kind of like UGC creators that are like 30, 40, 50 years old, that resonates with the target audience. And what they are talking about is the pain points, the things that people that actually want a remodel are thinking about. So for instance, one thing people care about is, getting a remodel without just disrupting their savings. So if you have financing, that's a great offer angle. If there's a lot of people that just are dead tired, they hate their kitchen or their bathroom. So you can have a video of the UGC creator where she's saying, do your bathroom look like this, or do you hate this? I used to hate this bathroom. And then it goes into talking about the offer and how you can help. And then instead of like having like some ridiculous discount, you can give like $1,000 off or $2,000 off, but at the end of the ad, so you first capture the information from the people that are actually serious. So there's just a whole bunch of different angles you can go into here. There's also the people that have heard horror stories about contractors. That's another angle that you can tap into that will resonate with people, and thereby position you as the authority within the industry when getting a remodel. So that is step number 2, or principle number 2, picking the right vehicle for running these ads and building this system, and also cracking down your offer. All right, so the third thing is basically tracking all of your metrics. Like if you are on a diet and you aren't like tracking your calories, there's no way you're going to lose weight. So exactly here when building this system, we need to track the metrics, but we also need to know exactly which levers we can pull to get these metrics in place. So the first metric that you need to look at is kind of like your cost per lead. So that is just when you run the ads, like how much are you paying for getting someone to enter their contact information. And if you aren't getting enough leads, you probably just need to test more different ad angles and offers. Next thing then is looking at the lead to booking rate, so the schedule rate. How many people are actually booking an appointment? And the way that you can improve this is tacking on different angles. So one thing is obviously calling the leads. You need to be calling all of the leads within 2 minutes, 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. And that's also something we do for all of our partners, because it's the highest leverage thing that you could do in your business. When you get on the phone with them, obviously you do a discovery on what they're looking for, and also ask qualifying questions about when they're looking to get started, the scope of work, do they have the budget, and then making sure decision makers are present for the appointment. Another thing here is essentially also like the cost per qualified booking. So when you get someone to show up, you need to be looking at how much have you spent for acquiring this qualified booking, because if you are getting a shit ton of leads but not that many qualified bookings, you probably need to like just come to terms with the fact that maybe your ad is attracting the wrong type of people. So if you change that and pay a bit more, maybe you will then in result get a lower cost per booked appointment instead, which is a great trade-off. Then obviously when you go out there, you're going to track your close rate and ultimately your cost per acquisition and average, like, and the value of the job. So let's say you spent $1,500 on ads and now you got this close. You know, if you sell this job at, let's just say really pessimistically on the low end, you sell this at 15K. That means you spend $1,500 to make 15K in revenue, and your marketing cost is then under 10%. You need to find that like CAC floor that you're willing to pay. So if you're willing to pay 10% marketing cost, why not scale the spend then and get more? Because the thing is like, you could have gotten a job that's 25K or 35K or 45K and above. And that means like your marketing percent within this like CAC ratio will be anywhere from like 2 to 8% or 10% at the highest, which is great. And that means it's just repeating successful actions and putting more money into the system. All right, that was pretty much it. So if you want our help with basically building out this whole system and helping your business going from around 1 million, 2 million to 5 to 10 or 20 or above, then please click the link below and schedule a free call, and then we will see if your business is a great fit for what we're doing. Bye-bye.